Welcome back, everybody. We're back. We're finally back. It's been another full year, and I've gotten to take a long break from horror movies. Since that is the case, let's jump right into the first video of our 31 Days of Horror Movie Reviews, or Horror Reviews, or Horrible Reviews. We'll soon figure it out. If not, I'll edit in the correct name soonish. Anyways, today we are watching Funhouse. Now, Funhouse is a 2019 film directed and written by Jason William Lee. This film stars Walter Skarsgård as Kasper, a washed-up reality TV star who is dumped into taking part into a reality TV show where the losers are killed in brutal ways. In that quick description, it does not tell you that there is a total of 8 people in this. Very Saw-like meets Big Brother survive the night horror. Now, simply put, I actually remember to take notes this time. It's rare, I know. I took a ton of them during this film because, simply put, it's not that good. Yeah, it's not necessarily what you want out of a horror film, but, you know, low funding, a premise itself that could carry the film. Maybe we'll try. We'll see how it goes. It starts off in this millionaire's living room where 2 girls are fighting to the death, and the main villain is being, you know, a villain. He's not really doing much else, and he's not really doing much. After that, it kind of skips to this guy jumping directly. This guy who's played by a Skarsgård brother, Kasper. He's pretty much telling you have to take this, you have no money left, blah 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 blah. Okay, sure. It jumps from that, and for a long, unnecessary extra amount of backstory, kinda, not even really backstory, just conversation starters. And it jumps right into the house that you're gonna be in, the Big Brother house, quote unquote. It's Furcus. It's Furcus's fun house, and that's fine. It introduces all the people, and of course, with it being a lower funded film, it's not going to be, you know, great actors, and that's for who to say. That's my personal opinion. Don't at me. They're very stereotypical. You got the fighter. You got a guy who's claustrophobic who lets us know that probably 17 times. It's actually, I think I wrote it down, he mentions it 6 times that he is extremely, or no, he uses the word clinically claustrophobic. You got those 2. You have the quiet one who is a chess master who was filmed. She was like a witch in a TV show. Doesn't matter. The only thing that matters is the chess thing, because they made sure to bring that up really early on, so it lets every person know that, hey, this person's probably going to play chess during this. She doesn't say a word throughout the entire film, except for 3, I think. You have those. You have the Instagram model, who is just known for being lewd, pretty much. You have a kind of like interviewer or somebody who's keeping track of all these celebrities, influencers, and trying to keep an eye on them. You have a girl who's been on The Bachelor twice and got rejected 30 men and then got left at the altar for the other one. Who's the rapper who only has one major hit called El Shaco. The only reason I know that is because he uses that catchphrase 6 times in the movie. El Shocker. The Shocker brother. That's all of them except for our main character Kasper, who has pretty much only gotten to be a celebrity due to dating someone of major renown, a pop star who he met before she was a pop star, but it doesn't tell you that until an unnecessary force in there of actual plot. Besides that, what other things do I have written down? It has very UK humor, which some people enjoy, some people don't. I didn't mind it. It was kind of dry, it's weird. The only reason I know all those things about all these people is because they do a highlight package, which is what a lot of reality television shows do. You watch The Challenge, you watch The Amazing Race, you watch Big Brother. They're going to be like, I'm Tammy from Tennessee, and my favorite thing to do is horseback riding. It's like, all right, well, that's all I know about her, kinda. Except it spends about 3 minutes per person. That means it felt like about 15 minutes of them just going through the background of all these people. Like, of course, all these people aren't just joining this show for nothing. The winner gets $5 million, and it's kind of like a shock back to them becoming relevant again. Which, you know, all these people, a lot of them are either getting drunk or like arrested several times due to battery and stuff like that. Finally, when all the highlights are done, we finally meet our host, Furcus, and it's a 3D animated avatar. It looks rough, but later on you see that he's using that avatar as like a 3D avatar, which can make better sense and will probably look better. After that, he pretty much says every 3 days we're going to let the people vote on who gets to stay, and if it's within 1%, then those two people are going to have a duel. In order to get to the 3 days, you have to fill that gap, and they do an awful job like managing that time. It's literally just them singing karaoke for, you know, they're singing karaoke for what feels like another 5 minutes of just gap filler. They knew they had to hit over an hour 30 to make this a film, and you can just tell that they just stretched it until the freaking body couldn't take it anymore. And that's just what we got. But yeah, they sing karaoke for 3 days apparently until they finally get their first. Oh, sorry. They also have talking heads, which every reality TV show has. This is their way of directly talking to the audience, being like, "Hey, Tammy from Tennessee who likes horses can't stand Rick from Carolina because he runs a glue factory." Something. But this one, they use the talking head interesting. They don't show all of them, thankfully, but it gives you a chance to actually be with that character for a second. So they're not just, you know, that over stereotypical person, but it's not used well. One who mentions he's extremely claustrophobic, and the girl who'd been on The Bachelor twice. Both of them had the lowest amounts, and apparently 1%. Who would have guessed? It's almost like someone might have control of this. But you can definitely tell early on that it's definitely streaming to everyone's phones, and there is no like complete control. People still have to vote, but then they throw the rules out like halfway through. Anyways, I'm not going to go through the entire review. I just realized that I've just been talking 10 minutes about the first 20 minutes of this film. Pretty much. The first two happens. Claustrophobia guy, whatever. And they have to play a competition. This competition, quote unquote, was the fact that 50 First Dates gets a bat to hit the Pinata Boy because apparently that's her turn. How is that balanced? How is that? There's no competition. It's whoever. I guess the only competition was she would have to find him while blindfolded to hit him as he's dangling with a spike bat. And once again, they probably had low funding or something along those lines. It doesn't look good, so that's all you can really do. After the first elimination, first murder that he doesn't cause, so he'll be, written off. He won't. It's the Saw thing. They did it to themselves, which we've seen in I don't know how many movies now. The second he gets down, after everyone freaks out because holy crap, this is real, murder's happening, oh my gosh, why? He specifically tells everyone, don't be a hero. Heroes aren't allowed here. If so, we're going to kill you in the most brutal way we can possibly freaking find. So he's like, okay. No, El Shaco, Shocker, or whatever the hell his name is, Hector, doesn't matter. He immediately says, oh, what are rules, and throws it through a window thinking that there's an escape. And there's no escape. They now realize that they are buried several hundred feet below ground. There's concrete above them, below them, all that fun stuff. And since he tried to break out and become a hero, guess what? You get to go directly into the next game, which gave you no real option. There's no competition. You're just eliminated because you broke the rules of the house. So therefore, we're going to dip you in this strange substance that bubbles and has like a toxic symbol on the outside of it. Somebody asked the horrible question of, what is that? And therefore the avatar has to jump down on the screen and tell them what type of acid this is and how severe it is. The next person to be eliminated is the Instagram model goes into it with the not late night host, but you know what I'm talking about, the person trying to, the internet news, the drama alert channel, stuff like that, and they're just fighting in the dark with axes. That's their whole thing. So one wins. The Instagram model wins. And she keeps trying to get her votes up by, doing the very teen horror thing of, showing her breasts, stuff like that. And it's like, okay, I understand what you're trying to do, but it's just rough and unnecessary. Turns out that people get bored with that, and they're watching you on the internet. She's bottom again. Skarsgård's rising randomly. Kasper's rising. Kat has always stayed at 1 and 2. Which is strange because she said nothing. Kat is the say nothing whiz kid, whatever. That was Blind Rage. After that, it goes to after she fights her, she faints, and now we're suddenly watching dreams, which is like, if we're following a main character, let us follow the main character. Don't let us follow every single other character and their thought processes and everything else. It gets really busy. After that, she loses again because she's at the bottom, and she's put into she has to spin a wheel, and there's like a 1% chance or 20% chance that she's going to land on this thing that's going to pass it on to somebody else, and she doesn't get it. In fact, there's a deadly 7, quote unquote, which is just adding names to something to add names to something. She lands on I can't think of what it's like, the torture rack pretty much, except it's like where they used to tie ropes to horses and send them in 4 different directions. So that's the third elimination. Fourth elimination. After this, the host says the people at home get to pick the next challenge, and it's a fight to the death. You get to pick between these 4 people: a Jason wannabe, a crazy clown wannabe, a psycho faux hawk guy, and just a pig man. Pick between these 4 and we'll see who he fights next. Ooh. The Jason wannabe guy gets picked. The fighter is like 23-6 and 1 no contest. Other guy has 26 confirmed kills. It's a cool, very well choreographed fight. He fights Jason the best he can. Ends up choking him out with I want to say it's a guillotine. After that, he stands victorious, shredded as all get out. Guy says, "You look like you could fight all night. In fact, I think you will keep fighting all night." So, therefore, him winning the challenge immediately mattered not at all. So him going by these specific rules for such a long period of time now means nothing at all to us. So we have an untrustworthy villain, shocker. But it's the fact that now the rules of the game no longer matter, and we now know that there's other things afoot, minus the fact that trying to let people pick things. You can tell this dude now has a major problem with celebrities, quote unquote, Instagram models, influencers, if you will. They're really trying to push romance between the girl who dated 50 guys and the guy who got dumped by the pop star. Eventually they do it. It's broadcasted everywhere. Therefore, they're number 1 and 2 for having a decent story in the voting. Kat finally goes down to 3rd. After 3rd, Kat has to play a game of chess with the guy. Shocker, I know. They only briefly mentioned the fact that she was a chess person. She loses. He brings up Queen's Gambit. But she rolls, and of course it perfectly lands on the pass of the turn, which is the first time it's happened ever. So it passes on to 51st Dates. The super sad backup singer, aka a guy who dated a pop star, says, "No, let me take her place." And he does. Goes in. Turns out that it wasn't going to be It's not going to be a one-person thing. He's going to do pretty much a full Hamilton and a duel to the death, 10 paces, and the only other person on the other side is going to be 50 First Dates. 50 First Dates. They both cry. They're both super sad. The internet is sad. They do their 10 paces, point these old revolvers out, and then turn it back on themselves. Therefore, leaving the winner as Kat. That's the movie. Kat and Kat. Turns out that Kat is dating or married to the main antagonist the entire time. That's why she was saved, and that's why she didn't have to say anything, and all the votes are still really high. It's a wreck. That is the entirety of the plot. I'll try to leave a timestamp if you want to just skip all of that. I'm going to edit as much of it as possible. All right, let's start with the plot. The plot itself is something that's been done to death, but the fact that you try to give like a voting thing, kind of like, I can't remember the name of the movie with the two girls in it. I can't remember. Doesn't matter. The plot itself, I'll give a 5. Like, it's been done to death. The actors aren't great. I mean, they're trying. They're new. They're getting into it. It's fine. It wasn't, supposed to be a good movie. It's a B-tier horror film. It's what's supposed to go. It's how it is. Scares. There are no scares in the entire film. If we wanted to go like gore, they do well for what they have. So we do scares - gore, maybe a 2. The threat itself, you're being locked in you're locked in, a challenge house. You're locked in a Big Brother scenario, and the internet decides your fate, supposedly, or so you think. And then it doesn't matter. They toss it out the window halfway through the movie. So the threat itself's a 3. Like, I'll always love Survive the Night horror, but it just wasn't it, King. It just was not it. Is this for newbies? I would almost target this towards, like, this film would probably do well with teens, and it probably do well with people who don't do a lot of horror. They don't like jump scares. They just, they want to try to figure it out. Maybe I could give it that. Do I recommend this? If you want, like, did I enjoy it? Yeah, I laughed pretty hard one time. I can't remember the scene, but like, I would tell people to watch it, but I'm not going to tell them it's a horror film. I'm going to be like, hey, there's this survival thriller. Check it out. Total score on this, like, guys, I'm not going to lie. It's not a great movie. Like, I'm not going to compare this to The Witch, or I'm not going to compare this to Hereditary. All I'm going to say is that enjoying bad films can sometimes be a joy in itself. And with that being the case, I'll give this a 5. It was okay. It was not scary at all. With it not being scary, I can't give it anything higher. I just enjoyed watching a mediocre movie. Unfortunately, we're starting this with a kind of a dud, but all of them can't be 10 out of 10s. All of them can't be 7s out of 10s, 8 out of 10s. There's so many last year that we just kind of gave 7s and 8s. This year, I want them to earn it. I'm going to be going at it with a very disciplined eye, and I'm going to hope that we can find some good ones this year. We found a couple of them that were like special last year. If you haven't already, please go ahead and hit the subscribe button. Also hit the notification bell so you can see every single time I post a horror movie review. Spoiler alert, it's going to be every single day this month, and I'm going to go insane again. Last month, I barely made it, and I had to pull some from last year because I kept finding thrillers that weren't horror movies. So let's hope that doesn't happen again. Take care, everyone. Thank you all so much for watching. Take care. That's right. That's what we say here. Take care. Stay scared. See you guys. No, stay scared. Take care. One of those two. Bye.